Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Bonjour à tous, bienvenue à ma chaîne. Je suis Patricia Jean-Pierre. I am Patricia Jean-Pierre, and today we are going to dive into another book review. Now, this has been covered before, but it was covered in the 3 best books, which somewhere up here, that I talked about, the 3 best books to learn French. Now I want to focus on one particular book that I actually started out with called French Made Simple by Pamela Hayes. It was my very first French practice book, and so let's get into it. If you ever wanted to get into French grammar but felt a little intimidated by all the rules, the conjugations, all the things, then check out this book that I want to talk to you about. So I found a perfect French grammar book in that it will make learning French a lot easier. Believe it or not, my coworker was the one that got started with me doing lessons, and I think we met up for like 30 minutes to an hour back in 2019. And so she's the one that recommended that I get this book, and then we worked out of this book exclusively. There are about 40 chapters, okay, so there's plenty of content. It's a lot of reading, which I do talk about reading as well. I've got another video about that, so check it out when you get a chance to. This one in particular, what I really enjoy about this book, so for example, chapter 1 just talks about like words that are spelled alike that have the same meaning but have different pronunciation, and they're using English words such as accident, cousin, image, prophet, active, automobile, danger, words that they're trying to get your mind to understand of seeing the similarities and the different ways to enunciate things within French, right? So you can also do that with the words that are in French. A lot of them are also in English, which is kind of a cheat code, okay, for you to be able to rule out some things and help learn the language a little bit easier. And even some French words that we currently use in English. For example, difficult, difficile. Now you know how to say difficile. And I actually have a video on that, on some words that are in the English language that are actually in French, that are French words as well. So believe it or not, you do speak some French. Individual, individu, individu, individual. Quality, qualité. See, you already know French. Liberty, liberté. See what I mean? Doctor, docteur. Actor, acteur. Telescope, telescope. Honestly, the cheat code here is to just say it with an accent, honestly. Not with everything, but another fun part here, as you can see, is that they show how the mouth should be placed. Now, of course, these are drawings, but like, oh. So it's showing how your mouth should be positioned, which I really enjoyed a lot. This is in chapter 2. E, like feet, for the word I. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So it's E right there, showing the teeth right there. So that's really, that's helpful. And then French sounds. So I had not that great of an accent, and I was working on it. This section right here, which does go into a little bit more detail of assisting with being able to pronounce things like routine. You know, it's giving the enunciation. Love that. Love that. Also, French consonants. I haven't found this in any other book, and I think it's very helpful that, yes, you can have a live class that you attend, but it really is important to be able to enunciate very well. What sounds are nasally, the vowel sounds, because the French do speak through their nose quite a bit and kind of in the back of their throat. So sometimes it sounds like that. That is something to be mindful of, so that if you really want to capture the accent, to reduce your accent, be mindful of how they speak. Back of the throat, a little bit like routine, you know, it's got that R back there. It's not the R is in the back of the throat instead of the front of the throat, like Roberto. That's more Spanish. This helps you break that down a little bit further, basically. Deuxième partie, which is the second part. In general, the first few chapters are just the grammar notes. you don't get into really reading and practicing some exercises until you get into chapter 4. So chapter 4 goes into it a little bit further. That helps you build your vocabulary. They're providing vocabulary. With my person at the time, my coworker and friend at that time when we were doing this, I had to read. And so here's the French section, and here is the section that is in English. So there was direct translation for someone that's starting off. This is a great book for beginners, as I mentioned before. So the number 1 says, Monsieur Brown est importateur. Mr. Brown is an importer. Okay, Monsieur Brown est un importateur. I want to make sure I pronounce that well. Obviously, I'm still working on my accent, so bear with me. And then it goes on into Monsieur Picard. So the main characters that are in this book are Monsieur Brown and Monsieur Picard. Monsieur Picard est le professeur de Monsieur Brown, which is, he's the professor of Mr. Brown. And that was number 6. And it says here, Mr. Brown is Mr. Picard is Mr. Brown's teacher. Right there. So it helps you to assimilate yourself, get facilitated with what you're reading so that you are familiar. Then it helps you build your vocabulary. Then you've got the grammar notes to be mindful of, like your verbs, your verb tenses, ils ont, sont-ils, il n'a pas, just excellent. Very good. Very good. And then your exercises are in exercises 7, 8, 9, and 10. You've got questions and answers, because I want to make sure that you understood what you were reading so that you can absorb it. I have a video on that as well, so check it out. Which, by the way, let's pause. If you are enjoying this video, it helps me out a lot with the algorithm. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Give me a like now if you don't mind, please, and thank you. That way other people will have an opportunity to see this in front of them and be able to, those who like learning a language like French, such as myself, can have that information. Thanks so much. Anyway, then it has questions and answers, as I mentioned. So it's pretty repetitive in this regard. There are more opportunities where eventually you basically are building a story off of this information. There is a translation that still remains there. You have your exercises. There's direct objects. Quel mauvais temps, like what bad temperature, what bad weather, excuse me. I recommend this book. If you're getting started learning French, this is the GOAT, okay? I don't even know if the kids still use the GOAT, but it's a great book. In the back, you have your dictionary, your English-French dictionary. You've got your prepositions. It's just chef's kiss. So definitely check it out. If you already own this book, let me know what you think about it. I also want to say, here's a caveat, that if you're going to get this book, it is best to learn it with someone that's already fluent in French so they can sit down with you and go through it with you and help you improve. Also, do not be discouraged. If you find yourself struggling with a few chapters, if you're a little slower than you expect it to be, do not be discouraged. That means nothing. That means you're learning. That means you are literally building new neural pathways in your mind, and you are building a habit, you are building a muscle. Okay, so I want to encourage you that if you're learning French, because I've been learning since 2019 off and on, but now I'm back on it, stay the course. It's worth it in the end. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, go ahead and like it if you haven't already. If you'd like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. I do have additional resources. And check out the other video that talks about the other 2 books that I recommend and some more French reading books, as well as practicing the language in general. Thanks so much. Salut!